It's Thursday, March 10th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN network. We'll be taking a look later at some of the front page news in our local communities. Rob Adams will have the forecast and a sports update, and Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. But first, on to some of the top stories we're following today. Platt Technical High School in Milford was evacuated this morning at about 9:30 because of a threat. A state police spokesman did not have the details about the threat, but she said administrators cleared the school and state police are doing a sweep of the school. Sources say students were evacuated to the YMCA across the street. Milford police are helping with traffic control according to state police, but you can check for updates at milfordmirror.com. And in Fairfield this morning, a 9-year-old boy who reportedly left a note saying he wasn't coming back has been found safely at his Mona Terrace home after more than an hour of frantic searching. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that the boy's mother told police that the boy had gone to his bus stop but did not arrive at Sherman School. According to scanner reports, the boy went to his school bus stop but walked away at about 8:30 this morning. Officers with a canine were tracking the boy's route from the bus stop while others interviewed the missing child's brother and mother. Sherman School administrators also came to the scene as the child was located back at home. And a car stolen out of Milford Tuesday was reportedly recovered in New Haven. The Ford Fusion with Vermont plates was reportedly stolen during a rash of vehicle break-ins in the area of Haystack Road, Cornfield Drive, and West Rutland Road Monday night into Tuesday morning. No one was inside the car when it was recovered. Also stolen during those break-ins was an AR-15 rifle and a ballistic bulletproof vest, which were stolen from the trunk of a Connecticut State Police cruiser. There has been no news yet of the rifle or the vest. Milford police said yesterday that they are still investigating. Easton Police Commissioner Raymond Martin has pleaded not guilty to one count of use of a telephone to facilitate the commission of a drug trafficking felony. Martin entered his plea during a court proceeding on March 2nd. Judge Robert Shadeggy has heard the cases of others charged in that case involving an international steroid manufacturing and drug distribution ring. Some of the suspects, including the ringleader, pleaded guilty and are awaiting sentencing. According to court documents, Martin, on or about August 15, 2014, knowingly, intentionally, and unlawfully used a phone to facilitate the conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute oxycodone. Martin is the owner of Martin's News and Smoke Shop in Stratford. In addition, he is a police commissioner and a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission in Easton, on which he serves as an alternate. He also serves with the Easton Town Republican Committee. And Connecticut continues to be one of the most expensive states to live in the United States. According to a recent study by the financial website WalletHub, Nutmeg State homeowners spend an average of $3,357 on real estate property taxes each year, compared to the national average of $2,127. Only 5 states, Texas, Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Illinois, and New Jersey, have higher real estate taxes, the report said. WalletHub used the median home value in America, which is $176,000, to produce its real estate tax numbers. Looking at Connecticut more closely, the report highlighted that the state median home value was $274,000, with $5,244 being spent annually on taxes, the second highest, trailing only New Jersey. In addition, the report said that from 2007 to 2016, Connecticut has remained among the highest in real estate taxes. And in Ridgefield, workers at Kohl's department store on Danbury Road are waiting to hear word from corporate headquarters in Wisconsin on whether the Ridgefield store is one of the 18 that will close as the company responds to disappointing sales. A worker at the store said they hope to know by late this month. The 18 stores are a relatively small number compared with the company's more than 1,000 stores, but the strategy comes as the department store chain issued a weak annual revenue forecast after posting a 20% drop in fourth quarter profits, according to the Associated Press. Shoppers are still spending, according to data, but they're being very selective about it, spending more on home improvement and restaurants and less on apparel. And when they do want to buy fashion, they're spending more time in stores like TJ Maxx for deep discounts. Department stores are also feeling the heat from the online leader, Amazon.com. And a house built before the American Revolution could soon face the wrecking ball in New Canaan. A legal notice stating intent to demolish a dwelling built in 1735 on Canoe Hill Road is published in the March 9th edition of the New Canaan Advertiser. It gives anyone who objects to the demolition 15 days to put their reasons in writing with the town. The dwelling is believed to be one of the 3 oldest structures in New Canaan. The property is at the corner of Canoe Hill Road and Ferris Hill Road. If written objection to demolition is received, then the New Canaan Historical Review Committee has 15 days to study any historical significance and may impose a waiting period of not more than 90 days before the granting of a demolition permit. The waiting period will permit interested parties time to consider and put forth alternatives to the demolition. The owner of the property, Max Abel of New Canaan, is a builder by profession, and he bought the property in late 2013. The owner said he's interested in finding a way to have the house preserved, but he is in business and wants to build on the property. He said he is offering to sell the structure alone to someone who wants to move it to another site. He said he's offered the dwelling for free to the New Canaan Historical Society and the New Canaan Preservation Alliance. We're going to throw it over to Rob Adams now for a look at the forecast. Rob?
All right, Kate, thank you very much. We have a chance of showers today, most of them coming afternoon. It's a little cloudy outside right now. That will be the case, mostly cloudy and a high near 75. Yes, pause for a moment and hear what I just said again. It is March 10th and it is 75 degrees. It's mass hysteria, dogs and cats living together. Wind out of the southwest around 7 with a 40% chance of rain. Tonight, rain likely, most of it before 3 in the morning, and then patchy fog after that. Be careful on the roads, otherwise cloudy, low around 50. The wind, not a problem, but the chance of precipitation, 70%. To Friday, a slight chance of showers before 9 in the morning, mostly sunny, high 61. Northwest wind 9 to 14. Friday night, we'll get chilly again. Clear, low around 35. Probably going to have to close the windows. I opened mine up this morning, in fact. Saturday, sunny, high 56. 43 for the low under partly cloudy skies for Saturday night. 59 and partly sunny for Sunday. Rain likely mostly into the afternoon. On Monday, cloudy and 50 as we get a little cooler. Tuesday, more chance of rain and mostly cloudy and a high near 56. But I can get you back to 61 on Wednesday. I'm benevolent like that. All right, around the region, your temperatures. Greenwich, 72. Ridgefield, 72. Right here, right out there, 74 degrees in Shelton. You know, I thought about wearing shorts when I left the house this morning, Kate. What a day.
It is. It's beautiful out. All right, Rob. Well, we are going to take a break. When we come back, of course, Donald Ang takes a look back on this day in history. We have a sports update and some more headlines coming up after this.
Darien Sport Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sport Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Had a sports injury that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist quickly. Their highly trained orthopedic professionals expertly treat you without an appointment. Skiing, snowboard, or sports accident, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk. Call 203-845-2070 or coastalorthoexpress.com. Find them on Facebook at Coastal Ortho CT.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
And Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Thursday, March 10th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it to Donald Eng's Look Back on This Day in History. Check it out.
The boss is on the phone, and he sounds angry. Well, he wasn't, but we'll get to that in a second. 1893, New Mexico State University cancels its first graduation ceremony because Samuel Steele, the only graduate in the class, had been shot and killed in a robbery the night before. The following year, all 5 graduates, including the school's first female student, managed to survive through the end of the ceremony. To 1969, James Earl Ray pleads guilty in Memphis, Tennessee, to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Ray would later recant his guilty plea and maintained his innocence for the rest of his life to his death in April of 1998. The year 2000, the NASDAQ Composite Stock Market Index peaks at 5,132. That signals the beginning of the end of the dot-com boom. The NASDAQ would subsequently fall to below 1,100 and would not top 5,000 again for 15 years. And finally, now we go to 1876 in Boston for this.
Bell sat in front of the new transmitter in the back room, which I had made into a laboratory for him on the top floor of number 5 Exeter Place, Boston, and I went down the hall to the front room to listen for the results with a telephone receiver. But as Bell was about to speak into the new instrument, a motion of his arm upset over his clothes a battery jar of acidulated water. In the excitement of the accident, Bell called out to me, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want you." The big mouthpiece picked up his call for help, and I heard every word of it through the receiver at my ear. The new transmitter was better than we had expected or had dared hope. And this first sentence, ever sent through the telephone, although apparently very commonplace, was really highly significant. For the telephone today renders no...
That was Thomas Watson describing the events of March 10th, 1876. Alexander Graham Bell makes the first telephone call inadvertently. Nowadays, we don't think twice about using the phone to call someone who's just down the hall, but Bell did it first. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Eng.
Thanks as always to Don Eng. It's now time for a sports update with Rob Adams.
All right, Kate, thank you very much. Let's start with the game of the night in Greenwich as the Cardinals advance to the second round of the Division I boys hockey tournament with a 5-4 double overtime win against Ridgefield. Alex Mosian took a feed from Colin Kelly for the game winner at the Dorothy Hamill rink. That was one of 2 goals scored by Alex Mosian. His brother Mike added 2 more, keeping it all in the family. Colin Kelly added a single goal. There's your 5 for Big Red. Harrison Chuma's power play goal in the third had knotted the game. 5th-seeded Greenwich now moves on to play number 13 Hamden on Saturday. The other quarterfinal will be an all-FCAC showdown. Steve Buno was at Terry Connor's rink in Stamford as we ask you to enjoy the sights and sounds of Darien and New Canaan. So there you have it. Good win for the Blue Wave, a 3-2 victory in a game that turned out to be a lot closer. Now we go to the scoreboard, and in Simsbury, Adam Usinger scored at the 4:17 mark of overtime to give St. Joseph a 2-1 win over the Trojans. We'll cycle back to that as we know the Cadets will meet Darien, and I'm getting some new information on that as kind of the show is going along. But let's go to that scoreboard. Other winners in Division I were Xavier over West Haven. Hamden knocked off the 4th seed Northwest Catholic, and Fairfield Prep beat Glastonbury, and of course you know about Greenwich and Ridgefield in 2 overtimes. Also, Notre Dame of West Haven and Notre Dame of Fairfield both won to set up a quarterfinal matchup between the two, 4-2 for Notre Dame of West Haven, 4-1 for Notre Dame of Fairfield. And of course you've got the Darien New Canaan win, and as I mentioned, Adam Usinger in overtime to knock off Simsbury. So some of this kind of very fluid as we're moving here, because I'm seeing things on Twitter and from good sources. The Edward L. Bennett Rink just tweeted that they will host Xavier and Fairfield Prep at 1 on Saturday, with Darien playing St. Joseph at 4. And the other item I'm seeing moving right now is that Notre Dame of Fairfield and Notre Dame of West Haven will be at noon at the arena, Webster Bank Arena, of course the Harbor Yard Arena, and now 2 o'clock for the other game, including Darien. So this is all very, very fresh here. So good games on Saturday nonetheless. In fact, I've got that backwards. Let me just double check here. This is on the fly. Cadets and Darien at that will play at Bennett, but the other games will be at Harbor Yard. So there you go. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Good games all this weekend nonetheless. So let's move on now to boys basketball. And in Class S in the second round, you've got Classical Magnet knocking off Trinity Catholic 72-70. And from Class L, Bassick moves on to the quarters with a 76-75 win over Wilby. They'll play top-seeded Windsor next, and Maloney ended Harding's season 79-49. On the schedule, tonight in boys basketball, the Class XL tournament, second round, you've got Brian McMahon taking on Danbury in an all-FCAC matchup at 7. These are all 7 o'clock games. In fact, West Hill and Fairfield Prep, don't be fooled by that. That's a 16-1 showdown. West Hill's playing some of the best basketball in the state, and West Hill, of course, lost to Prep last year in the state championship game. So 7 o'clock over at Alumni Hall, worth checking out. Ridgefield and Trumbull also meet. That's at Trumbull High School. And Greenwich and Weaver play in the 24 game, and that is at Classical Magnet. From Class M, you've got St. Joseph and Granby Memorial taking place. And from Division 3 in the quarterfinals in boys ice hockey, number 5 West Hill Stanford plays number 4 Hall Southington. That's at the Bennett Rink at 5:15. Then stick around for the second game, Staples West and Shelton, Lyman Hall, Haddam Killingworth, and Coggeshall at 7:15. And you've got the Class L finals in boys diving at Middletown High School. So a little bit of a jumble there with everything going on and all these game times flowing in really on the fly. We tried to bring them to you as fresh as possible. We worked to get the buns right out of the oven nice and hot. That's sports. I'm Rob Adams. Back over to Kate.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob. We're getting back to a little more news today. With the help of the Wilton Interfaith Action Committee, School Sisters of Notre Dame's Wilton chapter, and volunteers, a Syrian refugee family of 6 will move into their temporary Wilton home today, March 10th. The family will be staying in a recently vacated building on the School Sisters of Notre Dame's Belden Hill Road campus. The 3-bedroom, fully furnished and functional building is suitable for transitional housing, and the sisters have donated its use to the Action Committee. The family, a 33-year-old widow and her 5 children, ages 2, 5, 8, 11, and 12, will live in the home for 6 months until sustainable, permanent housing can be found, likely in a more urban setting. During that time, the Action Committee and the nonprofit Integrated Refugee and Immigrant Services will work with the family to help it be fully self-sustaining and independent in the U.S. There's much more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And some pesky beavers are causing some flooding problems for the homes near Roosevelt Forest in Stratford. So the commission that monitors the town's only forest have voted to get rid of them, though they say the decision was far from easy. Beaver traps have been placed in Pumpkin Ground Brook by Wild Things LLC after the Roosevelt Forest Commission voted last week to approve trapping and killing the beavers, which have caused a nuisance in the forest and threatened nearby homes. Roosevelt Forest Commission Chairman Bob David said the commissioners had been weighing what they could do since October, when they first received complaints about the flooding from neighbors on Barrister Road. A group of as many as 4 beavers had built a dam at Pumpkin Ground Brook late last year. The dam, some 60 feet wide and 4 feet deep, had caused flooding on the forest floor near the homes just outside the forest. David said the town had contacted the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection for advice, and the town's Public Works Department had installed a flow device, sometimes referred to as a beaver deceiver, into the dam to prevent flooding. But David said the beavers reinforced the dam by putting rocks and dirt in there, and Public Works later breached the dam several times, but David said the beavers always fixed it. But you can find out a lot more on that story at StraffordStar.com. And former actor Lilo Brancato, most known for his role in A Bronx Tale, will share his cautionary story on how drugs and alcohol can destroy one's life at the Ridgefield Playhouse on Wednesday, March 23rd at 7:30 at night. It's part of a Moffley Media entertaining conversation series and Hamlet Hub Whole New You series. The event, sponsored by the Ridgefield Prevention Council Family University and underwritten by an anonymous donor, as well as Newport Academy and Silver Hill Hospital, is free and open to the public. Brancato had a promising career. As a young actor, he starred alongside Robert De Niro and Chaz Palminteri in the 1993 film A Bronx Tale. He followed that with roles in Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State, and later in The Sopranos, playing Matt Bevilacqua in 6 episodes. Tickets for this event are free, but need to be reserved prior to the show. You can call the Ridgefield Playhouse box office at 203-438-5795 or visit ridgefieldplayhouse.org. Well, we're going to step out for a break now. When we come back, John Kovach is going to join me, and we're going to take a look at the front pages of our HAN Network community newspapers this week.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Here at the Organic Yard, we use bionutritional products in our lawn care programs, which reduces the need for fertilizers, nitrates, phosphates, and pesticides up to 80%, making a safer environment for your family and pets. With our organic lawn treatment, you'll receive vigorous, healthy plants with improved root development and better drought resistance. Enroll now in our 2016 Organic Yard program and get a free organic deer tick treatment. Call us today at 914-764-5491 or go to our website at millerslandscapinginc.com. For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
We're back on your coffee break. I'm Kate Czaplinski, joined now by John Kovach, and since it's Thursday, we're taking a look at the front pages as usual.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
In some cases, happy to
pop in.
In some cases for over 100 years.
Yes. Well, tell us what you're looking at first, John.
Just a dramatic story out of Weston that came across, and this ties back to the Boston Marathon bombing and the dramatic photo of a firefighter carrying a young woman away from the scene, and that was Victoria McGrath of Weston, and she survived the bombing, but that photo really became one of the iconic images taken by Metro West photographer Ken McGath, and really became one of the iconic images of it. And she tragically lost her life in an automobile accident in Dubai the other day. Patty Gay with a big package on that, including a statement from Victoria's parents and memories of her shared by friends and former classmates and teachers. Really moving story, really tragic story.
It is tragic to survive something like that, and then to have another tragedy strike in your life.
It's awful.
Well, I'm taking a look at the Trumbull Times. There's also a terrible past week in Trumbull as far as young men in town. There was a car crash last Friday that killed a 27-year-old Nick Sicilian in Trumbull. And then just on Sunday in Milford, a young Trumbull man, 24 years old, was struck by a drunk driver and killed while crossing the street, his family said, to go to the Bridgeport Flyer Diner.
Awful news there. Turning to Easton, where there's an interesting situation unfolding, and Raymond Martin, who is on the Easton Police Commission, has entered a not guilty plea. He was caught up, accused of being part of a steroid and oxycodone distribution ring, and he has pleaded not guilty, and he's on leave from his political offices in Easton. While this is adjudicated, he's just pleaded not guilty, and that will be unfolding. Also, a couple of photos there on St. Baldrick's, which is something I've thought about doing, though it's not much of a sacrifice on my part. I really do stand by what they do in raising.
No, they're a wonderful organization.
Delayed reaction there.
Yes.
Did you get that?
It took me a second. I had to think about it, Well, anyway, I am taking a look at the front page of the Milford Mirror. Obviously, a huge story this week was that a plea deal has been reached for Christopher Plaskin, who is charged with killing classmate Marin Sanchez back in 2014. He will be sentenced to 25 years in prison in June. He pled no contest, which means he accepts the punishment, but he doesn't admit guilt or innocence in that case. And what's interesting is I've seen a lot of feedback to this story. Some people very upset that he's just going to be sentenced to 25 years. Some people upset that, his photo is out there when really they want, Marin's photo out there. I've seen kind of that movement on social media. And I think Jill did a nice job actually by doing a piece on Marin Sanchez and her life.
I really liked the way she handled that, in that she did put Marin in the spotlight and talked to those who knew her. And we put the box, and it's shaded in purple, which was Marin's favorite color, the photo. And it's unfortunate, and you see it with any of these horrible events, these horrific crimes reported lately. And this debate on social media, should we even use the names of the criminal, or is that giving them the glory they seek? I think this is a different case, and I think the name does need to be out there.
I think so too. And just a quick mention, there is the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday. That's always a big event in Milford, so that's Saturday, March 12th. Kicking off at 1 p.m. in downtown Milford. Always a lot of fun.
Never been to that.
Oh, it's great. It's a good time.
In New Canaan, a story you just brought us here on Coffee Break, and that is the future of a house built in 1735. It's been purchased. It could face the wrecking ball unless it's moved. New Canaan is a community that really steadfastly defends its history and its heritage. Be very interesting to see if they can save that house, which right now would require moving it. Another thing New Canaan steadfastly defends is its way of government, and there are some peculiarities to it. One of which is in the lead story, and that is that the first selectman is also the chairman of the Board of Finance.
That is strange. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, the first selectman is the chair of the Board of Finance, so he approves the budget his board puts forth, which he puts forth, and then defends it. Rob Malazzi, who is first selectman of New Canaan, is arguing that they should leave well enough alone as they review the town's charter. That is a story that's going to unfold for some time, as charter review is never a quick process.
And so much fun.
Oh, it's awesome. God, if you love language and syntax, enjoy.
Get on a charter revision commission.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Shelton Herald. Really interesting story that Aaron Berkowitz did. He's been covering what's been happening in Shelton around the heroin epidemic. There was a big forum last week. I know we played some video from that. But he's also named his Person of the Week, Andrew Kaleo, who is a recovering addict and has kind of, doing outreach now and trying to help others deal with that. And I think that's a very cool story, and he makes music, and it's pretty neat. So very cool story there. Scary story, we're often hearing about very serious crashes on Route 8, and there was one last Sunday where a camper going the opposite way lost a tire, and it flew across the highway and hit, and this man was in serious condition as a result of it. So very disturbing story there.
Cannot imagine anything
That's
so
terrifying.
horrifying. And there was a lot of confusion around that accident because the initial information released was that it had been a fatal crash. So it was kind of a scramble to catch on there. The Beatles in the news with the death of Sir George Martin. And the Lewisboro Ledger has a photo of a Beatles tribute that just coincidentally was presented at the Lewisboro Library that on March 4th. Yeah. And also the possibility of lower electric bills in Lewisboro. And an interesting study here where a student will be traveling to Athens to present her research on Alexander the Great. And she is looking at it in relation to something we've heard a lot about in modern day sports coverage, particularly recently, and that chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, and whether or not he may have had that. I kind of want to read more about that. It's interesting because it has been around and not recognized or diagnosed.
Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Ridgefield Press. As we can see by the lead photo on the front page, Cabaret is coming to Ridgefield. Well, I hope that's what you would assume when you see the lead photo.
That's what I would assume.
It's very Cabaret. And Main Street trees are also set to be removed as part of a state project. And of course, some budget talk. Selectmen are setting a 3.5% tax limit. And if you go to the bottom of the Ridgefield Press, I love this photo of firefighter Nick Proprosky showing a Ridgefield Academy student how to use the fire hose. As you can see, none of us ever really grow up because it's just really cool to use a fire hose.
That is such an awesome photo.
They both have the same expression on their face. I love
it's always cool. I got to play with a fire extinguisher when I was doing CERT in New Canaan.
Me too.
It was so awesome.
Me too.
So awesome. Going to Monroe. Monroe has honored its World War II heroes at an event that was attended by U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal. The biggest fundraiser for the Massac Post-Prom, the annual fashion show, that's coming up on Wednesday the 16th. And there are some new rules on bulk waste, in addition to the coverage you saw in many of our papers of the forum on the ongoing heroin epidemic in this area.
Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Wilton Bulletin. The grand list there showing a slight increase, which is always better than nothing. Always some good news if it's going up and not going down. And of course, we are getting into spring, so that means spring musicals, as I just mentioned, Cabaret in Ridgefield and Mary Poppins in Wilton. So very exciting there. And police in Wilton deciding on a body camera provider. So they're going to move forward with those body cameras, which we've seen towns like Darien reject them because they think it would be too expensive, too much extra work. So interesting that Wilton's moving forward with that. It is a smaller department, obviously.
Yeah, it's interesting the different strategies being taken, and I'm very curious to see where it goes. Now, Norwalk is using them, and it got very dramatic footage of a rescue they made in the river just the other day.
Right, wow.
You talk about it being almost spring. And there's a tradition in Darien.
Go ahead.
Where a resident puts up a countdown. And as you drive on Middlesex Road, and this is going on for years, this was going on when I worked in Darien, and long before that, they count down the days
Very cool. Only 16 days till spring.
Only 6.
Even though it feels like spring right now.
Feels like summer outside. Some budget hearings and some emergency medical discussions. And the Community Fund of Darien is leaving a building on the Post Road where it has been on May 1st. That is a historic building. Kate, there's another sign of spring coming up on Sunday.
Yes, we should mention a lot of our papers are reminding folks we're springing forward this weekend.
My favorite.
Well, I don't like to lose an hour. I do like to gain the hour in the winter of sleeping, but it's still pretty great when it's going to be light out for a long time. It just makes you feel better.
Right. I love leaving the office when it's still light out. And even now you're seeing the signs of it, and it dawns on me when I'm coaching that, wow, it's dark at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, it's 5 and the sun is still up.
Well, John, we're going to be wrapping things up here, but what's coming up on Yankee Fisherman at 1?
We are going to talk to some local tackle makers about things that they do to try to impart life or lifelike action into the lures they make, and look at a number of upcoming events.
Cool.
And then Arts and Leisure?
Yes, Arts and Leisure is at 2 o'clock. We're going to have a live performance in studio. You'll have to watch and find out more. And I might actually join Sally and Steve to talk a little bit about some TV shows, especially one that just ended. So I might join them for some of their chat this week, but we'll see.
We'll have to tune in.
Yes, but we're going to wrap things up on your coffee break. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 11. Have a great Thursday.